Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's nice to meet you guys and chat about things.
I mean, this is great timing that you released this. So we're pretty happy to talk to you. Okay, I'm gonna get started. Welcome
Sure.
to Dead Diaries EP5. We're here with Kostas, and this is Andy, and I'm here with Enleak, and we are trying to become threat hunters. So we're speaking to threat hunters across the world, and today we have a special guest. He is the founder of Threat Hunting Labs, the most optimal experience if you're trying to learn to become threat hunting. And it just released. It's been pretty popular on LinkedIn, so we want to check it out and talk to the man himself.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Andy. And yeah, happy to be here. Um, I've just created the threat hunting labs to fill in a gap that I saw in the industry, and yeah, happy to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah, so a little bit more background on Kostas. He's actually an analyst for a differ report. Enleak and I have seen your reports many times. We're really interested in finally speaking to someone from the team. Additionally, you've worked as a threat hunter for MSSPs. You've been in security for a while now. Um, and you actually have like multiple other projects slash companies, the EDR telemetry, which compares telemetry across multiple EDRs so people know what they're ingesting. You have a Sigma rules repo, and a detection stream, which I'm a little bit more curious about, and finally threat
Nice.
hunting labs, which I've
Yeah,
played with it. It's probably the coolest tool out there currently
thank
when
you.
it comes to this subject. So we found you through X. This was one of your tweets announcing the threat hunting labs.
Yeah.
We're really curious how you came up with this idea. I mean, you've worked as a threat hunter. Um, if you could like sh sort of tell us like what prompted you, like what need did you see in the market where you're like, you know what, I don't see anyone else doing this, and nobody else is like equipped because I have the skills. I've done reports like this. What essentially triggered you to come up with uh, the company?
Yeah. So, yeah, first of all, thank you very much for the nice words. I've done so many different projects, and yeah, I've been with the DFIR report since day one. Um, I've also many people. I don't know if many people are aware. I created the DFIR labs for the DFIR report.
Okay.
I no longer associate with the DFIR report though, so
Okay.
I have gone ahead with my own initiatives, and yeah, happy to talk to you for the threat hunting labs. Um, what um, what I what the lessons learned from creating DFIR labs, I guess, and for prompting me to create threat hunting labs is uh, the gap where in the market where you are uh, when you're using some platforms where they have made an excellent job at gamifying an experience, but we are still lacking the information that would make it very valuable when you are when when you're coming against an incident in real life. So, for example, they might have nice lessons and training based on techniques that are used out there, uh, but they may lack the real data, the logs, and the investigative mindset that you need to teach to the end user how to go about investigating something based on real intrusions and real telemetry. I think this is what is Threat Hunting Labs is trying to cover. And when I first started in the industry, um, I used all the different platforms that exist out there for labs as well. Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, great platforms. Um, but after being many years in the industry, I realized that there are some things that don't translate in real world, and those platforms, me personally, did not do a good job at preparing me for the real world. So after gaining a lot of experience, I sat down and thought, how can I create this very nice concept of a gamified experience, but also implement it into real world intrusion and actionable investigations. I want to create something that will teach the end user how to the possible steps that they might have in a threat hunting, for example, exhibition, like when, how do they pivot from one source to another, from one data telemetry to a different, enrich what they have, the information that they have collected, and move on to a different phase of the intrusion, and the most important of all, creating a timeline of events, which is very difficult to understand when you come in the industry and you start working as a security analyst. Um, but it's very important to learn those things early on. Um, I personally gained a lot of the knowledge from reading reports and taking some courses that helped me. Um, some of those courses, I would always mention that is Chris Sanders courses. They are among the best out there, and I want to see how can I take these courses and create, the knowledge and the foundation that I learned from them, and create labs that will give the end user the whole end-to-end experience of learning how to investigate and also doing it with real data. This is what prompted me actually to create the threat hunting labs.
Awesome. So, you wanted to make labs in general better and create give analysts and practitioners the whole picture. I've heard you previously say, I don't want it to be CTF style. I'm curious why you don't want it to go that direction and instead are want to improve on that idea.
Yes, it's a very good question. To me, I wanted to have the user understand um, how to investigate a specific scenario. And by having those capture the flag questions could work a little bit better if it's maybe red teaming type of labs. But in blue team, I found that you need to understand what you're investigating, learn about the data that you're trying to query, and then uh, actually query and then analyze the data. uh, Having the user go and um, asking them to go and find a specific flag or a specific thing in the data that are not very relevant to teaching them how to do the investigation um, is not a great way in understanding what they're doing and learning from it. So trying to create something that, as we will probably see in a bit, trying to show them all the different options that they have to create during an investigation, and choose how they want to approach it. Do they want to, explore the discovery phase of the intrusion, or do they want to move to the lateral movement, for example, and provided them with those options. And in that way, they understand, okay, this is what I can do. This is where I can go in the investigation. This is where I am in the investigation. So we have the timeline of events. If I started from the beginning where I identified the initial access, um, I want to see what is the most important thing to understand from there. Probably what is the impact. So understanding what are the users involved or the systems involved in this intrusion, and gather some indicators of compromise to help with the initial triage. I think that's very important. Now, beginning a gamified experience with having the user taking them to find a specific flag without teaching them certain aspects of the investigation is not a, the best way of teaching. And this is just my opinion.
Yeah, I had a quick comment on that. I know that a quick observation is that some platforms have, let's say, the answers for the flag with a certain character, certain amount of asterisks that let you know what type of answer you're looking for, or if it's wrong or right, without you even like going and doing the actual investigation yet. So, no, I appreciate that you are going your way to make this as real world possible. Um,
Thank you.
based on this, right? You gathering this experience from, these intrusions and putting them on your platform. You had to get here somehow, right? From gathering this experience all the way now making this platform. And there's this saying, hindsight is 2020, right? So looking back, as Andy and I, new fresh threat hunters, what are things that you would avoid, right? Let's say, to get to the point where you are, right? To gain that skill level, to gain that, that timeline building that you said was so important. How do we get there?
Yeah, great question. I think even especially nowadays, it's a lot of people that are looking for the quick wins. They're looking to find the uh, the way of least resistance, and it's I don't blame them for that. This is how we are wired as humans. Um, but there is no way around understanding the fundamentals. I spent a lot of time uh, understanding how networking works. I started from being a network engineer and IT administrator. So that taught me a lot of the fundamentals, including networking and how to, configure or understand logs related to networking, and that also helped with uh, later on when I started looking into logs as a security analyst, for example, to understand. I had a packet capture to understand what's going on in that, and looking into the protocols and looking into the different elements of the packet and understanding what's going on. As an IT admin, setting up systems and even helping users, and looking into um, understanding how things work is very important to build on that later on with becoming a security analyst, which will require you to know a lot of those fundamentals to do your job. Um, I think this is how I started, and this is what I did, and I think uh, I wouldn't change that at all. A lot of people try and jumping straight into security, and this could work, but you still need a lot of um, you need to go back and understand how things work properly before you try to defend something, and try to break something as well and learn from it. So get involved with red teaming as well. So when I was first starting up, I I also went through and did my OSCP. That helped a ton understanding how to break things and tinker with things. And later on, I was a security analyst then, and later on, I moved into roles like threat intelligence and threat hunting, and that experience helped me a lot. Even though I did not have in mind to go into red teaming positions, I just want to understand how things work a little bit better on that side of things. So yeah, that helped a lot as well.
So that sounds amazing. I tell my friends the same thing. Like there is no rush to getting to cyber. It's way better if you're in different roles of the organization, experiencing different technologies, looking at it with focus, and then bringing all that context and overall knowledge to security. It's just going to flow in your head way better. And I think an issue with that is people want quick wins. People want to get to security as fast as possible. Even us, we want to become threat hunters and effective threat hunters as fast as possible. I've noticed one thing really good about your platform is that you submit answers and it's graded by an AI bot, right? A lot of big platforms, it's just copy paste and it's like an exact match, and it doesn't really care about how you got to the answer. They just want to see that you got to the answer. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but your system, at least the labs, they have context of all the queries you ran, what activity you've done, and then based on that, they sort of try to support you to get to the answer rather than giving you that quick win so you can post it and then move on, which honestly causes a lot of issues in real life incidents. People are just looking for something specific, and as soon as they don't see or they do see that thing, um, they end up taking shortcuts and pivoting fast, and maybe that causes people to miss stuff. So my question is, um, for DFIR work for IR, what do defenders miss the most often, and why do you think that is?
Yeah. First of all, yeah, as you mentioned, in the platform, we are using this method because we don't want people to get marked down for correct answers, but they misspelled something, or they missed the capitalization on something, and that works against them. They lose points and they get frustrated for not answering the question correctly, even though they used the correct answer. Um, we use a mix of methods. Some of that is regex for the first pass, and then we pass it on to the AI, where the AI has the context, as you very well said, of everything, where you are in the investigation, the answers that you have already completed, and it knows the answer that you're trying to the question that you're trying to answer and the queries that you have done and everything. So if you're close to answering a question, it will say, okay, this is not right, but you're close. I will not mark you down. Here is a little help. Maybe look into that. It will allow you to submit something one more time, and if it's completely wrong again, it will just say, okay, this is wrong, but keep going looking into that. And we have the AI mentor, we call it Athena, where it helps you a little bit as well, giving you some direction and where to go. Um, uh, but yeah, this is basically how how we do great things. And your other question was how. Sorry, I missed your your final question.
Yeah.
What was your final question?
So just because of how training has existed before, people are very snappy. They want to see an exact log or an exact hash
Mm.
that satisfies them. And this, in my opinion, in real world, that causes them to miss a lot of useful information. So when they're in an IR, or they're in just they have to do their regular work, what do you think defenders, blue teamers miss the most often, that they should be paying attention to?
Yeah, it depends of the investigation. I think it, it depends as well what the goal of the investigation is. If we're doing instant response and we're looking into stopping an ongoing threat that we have in our network, a lot of the times we skip some steps that would appear to be important later on. For example, um, they would move into from one phase of the instant response to the skip one and go to the next, like instead of looking into searching and expanding and enriching their findings so far based on the initial alert that they received or the tip that they received. They move to eradication, for example, where they are missing important information on what hosts were involved and what users were involved in the intrusion. And in that way, even in sometimes I have seen they're missing a second method of secret communication, where um, even when you go to the eradication, for example, phase, and you're trying to stop and block the threat, you have missed a persistence method that is calling to a different C2, for example. Um, so taking the time to do the proper analysis, and understand what happened in the intrusion, and create a timeline of events is it's crucial when you're doing incident response. Um, the problem, I think, a lot of companies, especially in MSSPs, that they have is that they don't have the time to do all this. It's a very fast-paced environment, and you have to move very quickly, go through the ticket fast, and move on to the next. I think that that has there is an issue with that where the analyst might miss important information, um, like what I just mentioned, and that that would be very important later on. Or a lot of the times, what I see is there is, in many cases, especially when there is EDR or some security protections in the environment already, but there are certain hosts in the network that are unmanaged, and we don't know where they are. We don't have visibility over them, and we are only trying and eradicating what we can see in the network. So we are isolating the hosts that we found to be infected, and we're, blocking the threads. But that initial access, where it's the unmanaged device that is left in the network, is usually not very easy to deal with, especially if you are an MSSP and you have to contact the customer, and then we'll have to look into that, when you don't have where you're not able to reach on that host. That could actually be a very important step that you're missing if you are not really eradicating the issue from the source. These are some of the issues that I have found that have a big impact during an investigation and in a live intrusion scenario. But there are many. It depends of the case, I guess.
So, how do you deal with that? Like, you come to this company, right? And they have some unmanaged devices. An intrusion happens. How are you dealing with, an environment where there's not as much visibility then? How do you, as the threat hunter, as the incident responder, deal with that? Who do you talk to? What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. To me, I would see first of all what accounts are used by the threat actor. Um, um, it's very difficult to respond in these cases because you don't have the ability to stop the threat from the root, but at least you can see what are some of the um, tactics that they are using. So if they are using, for example, reverse proxy, or they are using a specific implant to install on the host that they are moving laterally into, and they're using a specific C2 infrastructure, or they're using RDP, for example, with specific accounts, you're looking to mitigate as much as you can. So blocking access from that IP or that segment of the network, if it's possible, or at least put some mitigation in place with um, trying to stop the account that is used by the threat actor to move laterally into other hosts in the network. That will give you some time at least to contact the customer and say, hey, this is what is going on. We want you to look into that host. We believe it's an unmanaged host into your environment, and we have done XYZ to you know to to basically slow down the threat actor. But it's I think it's always you always have to move fast in these cases, and take the situation under control. It's not an easy case, and it's very common, unfortunately.
I also want to point out that, we're talking about containment and how to deal with these incidents, but I don't think I've seen a platform that allows you to do IR to contain and to recover in an interactive way. And we talk about this theory, but now that we actually have a chance to do it, that's gonna stick in your head. And, when you're actually an incident, you're panicking, you have something to rely on, the experience you built from threat hunting labs. I also do want to cover your other projects because I think those are equally interesting. So you went from, do you traditionally, you came into IT, you did many roles, you got to security analyst, you worked for MSSP, you just collected a lot of um, knowledge, and a lot of people have that, but not a lot of people, I feel like, are serial entrepreneurs like you, just trying different projects, trying to turn them into companies, successfully doing so. So I'm curious what you learned at each of these projects, and like a telemetry and all these seem to also like work together to, make you exponentially better at what you do. And I'm really excited to see not only what Threat Hunting Labs has, but what's going to happen next because of your unique position.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hadi. Um, uh, I build projects that I feel that I wanted to have. I built it for myself, first of all. This is what I want to have. And I know that if I have this, if I feel that way and I have, I'm feeling that there is a gap and uh, it needs to be filled. Like I'm sure other people feel that way, and this is what prompts me to, you know, come up with a project. Like the EDR telemetry project started um, uh, with telemetry being kind of a black box for EDRs. So I wanted to introduce some transparency into the telemetry that EDRs make available to the end users. And it started very slowly, but within a year we had already so many different vendors in the Windows platform, and then we expanded on Linux, and we are now looking into expanding into macOS this week.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm working on that currently, getting everything ready for macOS. But yeah, it's just something that I want to see, something that I want to, for me personally, what I want to have, and that's what makes me create that. And a lot of the things that I create is for the community. They're free, and it's for the security analysts and the incident responders that are looking to see if I'm using this EDR, for example. What are the telemetry that I can have to my disposal for, creating, investigating something? Do we have registry related information with this EDR? And how deep do we go? Do we have registry creation, modification, for example? Do we have scheduled task activity or anything like that, services, etc., to look into possible persistence? Um, it's just to help users quickly identify and you know um, investigate things without having to use um, telemetry that is not direct. It's not, for example, you can find service creation events if you have access to registry creation events. It's an indirect way of seeing if that specific registry key has changed for the services in registry. But it's different that is different though if you have a service telemetry from your EDR provider, for example, and it's nicely parsed with the information that you need to know as an analyst straight away, with the new services being created by which account, uh, what is the service, command and binary that is used, etc. That will save you a lot of time and could help you create alerts as well from that type of telemetry. So this is what I want to demonstrate with EDR telemetry and just highlight it for highlight the visibility that those EDRs that we support have. Um, with other projects like the detection stream, I just want to have the uh, people see in one place all the different detection frameworks and be able to search for the different rules and use the platform in a way that just makes it easier for them to view different detections, understand um, what those detections are, and how they can use them. We have actually created a playground as well for detection stream for Sigma and for for Nova that people can experiment with uploading their own logs and using the engine that we have provided with the rules to see if they have any hits, for example, looking into false positive, etc. So yeah, I just want to have everything in one place. I always want to do that for myself, and then I made it available to the public as well. Um, and yeah, I have the of course the ADR comparison that came from my experience into the ADR telemetry project that now is a multi-year project. Yeah, I had a lot of experience with dealing with various EDRs and
Mm.
uh, looking into and evaluating different EDRs. And I put all that experience and all that knowledge into the EDR comparison. So I create the features that an EDR has and compare those features. And I provide my opinion on those features and how they compare against. So just makes it easier for someone that is looking to get an EDR uh, to choose the best EDR for their environment. Because I don't think that it's a bad EDR out there. There isn't a bad EDR. It depends what you need, what you want, and what your security maturity and what you're trying to what you're trying to accomplish with an EDR.
Okay. All is very impressive. I really like that, every project adds on to another project. And I really just want to congratulate you because this EDR
Thank you.
comparison, right? A company, will do the if a company's trying to buy an EDR, they'll collect all this knowledge, they'll spend months of work, evaluating what's good for them, and then it will just live on Excel sheet and it'll never be used. And that's a lot of value that a community would benefit from, even threat hunting labs, right? For me as a SOC analyst to actually threat hunt, to like get put on a project, that takes years of work just for me to build a reputation, build the skills up, so I can, eventually ask my bosses like, hey, can I threat hunt? Instead, you're essentially open sourcing and giving me an opportunity that would have rather taken me years and many, many attempts to even attempt to practice it and to get good at it. Um, and I really hope
Yeah.
this episode and just your work inspires other people to get all this tribal knowledge, all these like gate kept opportunities, and sort of share them for the rest of the world. So this way, we actually have a chance. Um,
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for the nice words. For the threat hunting labs, I hope just people get to experience what real logs look like, and that's another difference with a CTF, for example, and that's why I didn't want to be another CTF type of platform. We want to expose the real logs. So in real logs, in a real environment, you have administrators doing administrative things, running
Actually, can we
parcel
show off
scripts. Yes,
a lab real quick, just to show people the
absolutely,
interface? Okay. Flash on.
absolutely, yeah.
All right. So you're able to pick between Azure, SPL, Elastic. I personally use SPL at work, and so having that up there is amazing. Um, Seems like you can select the difficulty and the
Yes.
time package. I think for the free tier, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't expire. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's there is we have the free guided, and you can go through one of them and see how the platform works,
Hmm.
etc. But in a lot of cases, we just want to make sure that people are accessing, the platform just to play around and see what it looks like. Go through one or two scenarios and see what that would what it would offer for them. But again, the try hunting labs have, as I was saying, real data. They have administrators with, running scripts. They have users doing what users do in an environment. There are multiple workstations, etc., where you will find in a real environment. In many CTFs, you will go and find, okay, well, it is asking me to find the malicious activity on that. and then you go to search, for example, on an Elastic or Splunk instance, and you have just 5 events. All of them are malicious activity. All of them are one after the other, and there is no other activity surrounding those events. It's very easy to see, and that's not real world. In a real world, especially when you do threat hunting, you probably know that already. You just you can spend a lot of time just understanding and getting the baseline of the environment.
Okay. So what is the difference between the timeline view and decision tree? What sort of person would select one or the other?
Yeah, with the timeline view, you basically see the intrusion um, from start to finish. So we we want to introduce the timeline so the user is not confused with decisions and understanding where to go next in investigation. If they just want to follow the timeline of events for this intrusion, they can start from the beginning and work their way towards the end. So every single question is having a timeline, a timestamp specific attached to it, and you move on to the timeline. And as you would do to an investigation, you start from the initial access, you go to the execution, you go to credential access, persistence, etc., from start to finish, and see what the threat actor did from the initial access to the next phase of the intrusion. With a decision tree, you get to choose your own path. So you get to answer the first route branch, and then you have the option to go to investigate different type of questions. For example, you will be able to go and pivot to do threat hunting on persistence, or you might choose to do credential access, and you just choose your own path in investigation. But yeah, that's the difference. Let me know if you have any questions. I know you have to see it in order to understand it better, but yeah, this is the main difference.
So here we can see the actual decision tree, or the
Yes,
timeline of your
yes.
investigation, and I think that's great for beginners who need to like visualize that mentally, so that once they get dropped an incident, they know where they are. Also, great job with the design. Honestly, I got into cyber because I want to be a cyberpunk, and the design it makes me feel like I'm playing cyberpunk.
All right. I'm glad. Yeah, put a lot of work in the design. This is what I had in mind when I first, started visualizing what I want to create. Um, but we will keep improving. We're still very early on. Even for this week, I have plans for a big new release that will bring new features. Um, for people that are starting and they are beginners and they are dropped into the investigation and they don't know where to go from there. We're introducing a way for having a starter query and helping
Mm.
guiding them through the investigation a little bit better. So you will be able to see the starter query, which will tell you a little bit about what to query, what we're looking for, and why. And yeah, I hope people that are beginners in the field will be able to get better guidance with that and appreciate that addition. But yeah, we keep improving.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know that we're also trying to, emphasize that these are the people walking into threat hunting, right? New to this. Is there a
Mm.
skill you think that some people transitioning are overlooking, or what skills are you hoping people learn from this platform? Like, what are the important skills of a threat hunter? Maybe to you personally, I know you've worked with a lot of great people, doing defer. What are things that stood out between them that, maybe we should look forward to, that people transitioning should look forward to?
Yeah, I think um, there is no doubt you need to have some, you need to know certain fundamentals, as we discussed before you jump into threat hunting. Because in threat hunting, to me, you need to be able to establish a hypothesis and try to disprove or, search through the logs to prove your hypothesis. And uh, in order to do that, you will need to know what logs you need to look into, where to go from what you found to pivot into a different data source. And yeah, to me, it's very important to understand the basics, and then uh, during threat hunting, you need to form your hypothesis and uh, get into the mindset of the threat actor and say, okay, this is what I know so far. What should I look for? Should I look for evidence of persistence in the network? Um, let's look into the alerts that we have, and try to identify something that they might not have picked up. Um, let's see if we can try to search for a specific method that they have used in the past. Looking into a specific uh, thread that or a pattern in how they do things during the intrusion to hunt for um, other things that align with that could be very important, because to me threat actors are humans, so they are using specific actions that know very well and they feel very comfortable with. And to me, if they have a specific TTPs that they started using, you see them started using a specific technique in the network to move laterally, let's say, or dump credentials. Um, I would expect them to see using the same techniques in throughout the environment. They would use similar tools, they would use similar methods of doing so. So knowing what you're dealing with and seeing the patterns makes it easier to search for those as well, and uncover, what other uh, hosts in the environment might have been compromised using the same techniques, or at least it will give you a timeline window of the activity where you can just expand upon, or go back to and retrace the steps that the threat actor did from that. So for me, I usually during an investigation, when I identify a malicious activity, I always want to see, in that specific session that the threat actor had, especially in cases of hands-on keyboard activity, I want to see what else did they do within that session. If that session, lasted an hour or two, I want to see where they started from. For example, if they were running under the context of a user, a domain user, and under a process that they had their implant on, for example, I want to follow that process chain, or I want to follow those session IDs, etc., that they have left in the logs for us to investigate and identify what they did, keep track of everything that they did, create a timeline of events, and then understand where to go from next. Uh, Doing that, it will give you a lot of information on what access they have and what they're trying to accomplish in the intrusion. In some cases, that could be that could be looking for sensitive information to steal, or just looking to get as much higher privileged access as they can in the environment, and then drop ransomware, for example. That could be another thing. It all depends, of course, but this is how I approach an investigation, and this is my methodology on hunting something.
Cool. So I think the common theme here is pattern recognition and timelining, and that eventually leading you to collecting a bunch of TTPs, right? So this might be revealing too much about your platform in the future. I'm not sure what you have planned, but all of that eventually leads to creating detections. Now, Or your labs, are you ever thinking about maybe adding a portion in your labs where you're like, hey guys, you finally completed the incident response portion. Good job. Now create a detection for it. Is that ever an idea you're thinking about adding, or maybe not?
Yes, we have that already. We have a detection module. You need to have the threat hunting already done for each of the cases that we have detection engineering questions. We also make detection engineering questions available in flash hunts. You were in a flash hunt. You will find some questions are related to detection engineering. So what we do is we want users, for example, uh, to create a detection. We say we have a question that says, for example, this is the things that you have uncovered. Now try to create a detection based on that, create a query. And in that query, we make available a way for them to submit the query as a detection because, this is how all detections are starting, um, basically. And this, the results and the query that you have selected um, is evaluated against the question, and the answer provided will be your query, and is evaluated against the results of your query and how relevant it is to the question that was asked for that specific um, detection engineering question. So yeah, we do have that. We try to show people this is how you can create a detection, create a good query that will have the least amount of false positives and match the activity that we're trying to match for this specific question and create a detection and submit it. And basically, this is how we are trying to have the users create detections using threat hunting labs.
Okay, that's fantastic news. I really think this platform serves people who are at like a SOC analyst level. They have the forensics fundamentals, they understand how computers work, but they need a push to go up to IR, DE, incident response, and there's not really a product or a platform that teaches all of them in sync and practically as it does. So I'm really happy that I'm finding it at my this point in my timeline of my career. Um,
Thank
and
you,
yeah.
Adi. Yes, I appreciate the good words. Um, Yeah, and we will, as I said before, we'll keep improving the platform. There is a lot of things that I want to do for the platform, even more. So yeah, I'm looking forward to to the future and where this platform can go because I know it has potential. I just need to put it in practice.
I think we're all excited and we can all say the same. Do we have any more questions?
No, I mean that's pretty much what that's been a lot of great insight. We're excited to actually hop on. And Andy, I don't know about you, but I better see you on that leaderboard.
Yeah, I think I'm already at seventh place, so I'm chilling.
That's good.
There's only 10 people, by the way.
Yeah.
No, but thank you for all the valuable insight. We're definitely gonna check that out, and I think that I've been inspired to actually start testing the platform, start going
Yeah.
in there, and definitely send you a message with the stuff that I like once I get in there and start playing around with it.
So I'm ranked
Yeah.
15 now, but we'll get it up there.
Yes, great. Well, it was nice chatting with you guys, and yeah, please let me know what you think of the platform, and yeah, looking forward to chat with you again.
Okay.
Sounds good.